Hello friends, welcome to Apex Chess Academy. Today we are going to see my another very unique theme, and that is the concept of storeroom. What is storeroom concept in chess? First of all, we'll understand what is storeroom. Okay, well, everyone knows, right? So basically we are used to store few things in our storeroom, which is basically not used regularly. So here as well, we'll store a few ideas in our mind which is not required at certain point of the game. So we can store that ideas in our mind and we'll use those ideas later. That kind of stuff is known as storeroom concept in chess. Okay, we took the first example here, and this game was played by Pragnanda in 2019 December. Okay, I'll initially speak the position for the blind player. Okay, white, king b1, queen c2, rook h2, rook h1, bishop e3, bishop e2, knight f4, knight d4, h3, g4, e4, d5, c4, b2, a2. Black, king c8, queen e7, rook h8, rook d8, bishop d7, bishop h4, knight e5, knight c5, h6, g6, f7, d6, c7, b6, a5. Okay, so you can pause the video and try to find out the best move as black. Okay, so let's understand first of all the normal stuff, how you should react. You can't play g5 here because of simply knight to h5, and you have weakened your h5 square and the f5 square for the rest of the game. So of course g5 is out of question. Okay, now let's understand the move h5. So what's the idea of h5? Actually, I am just taking away the h5 square from white, and now let's say if white takes g into h5, then we'll play g5, and this is a typical pawn sacrifice, basically not to allow this knight h5 move, right? So here after h5, g takes h5 and g5. Now we are simply kicking away this knight, and you can't go for knight g2 because of bishop g3, and otherwise knight has no good square left. So got the point why g5 was bad, because of knight h5, and then f5 square is available for opponent's knight. While here after h5 and then g5, if you are playing knight g2, then bishop g3 is coming, and if someone plays knight d3, then black can go for simple knight e into d3, bishop into d3, knight into d3, queen into d3, and here rook de8. And in fact, black is going to win e4 pawn, and so the game very easily. So here, this was one idea that you can approach this way and it is winning. And of course, here this h5 move is very strong. But here, Ragnananda has played some another move. Well, I think whatever he has played, which is also good. Although computer don't like his idea of rook de8. But let's understand what is the point behind this and why this is practically uh, even stronger than this direct h5. Now let's understand. Let's compare it with the h5 move followed by g5. Okay, if you go for rook d e8, actually I am passing the decision making process to opponent. So you save time in your clock. The second thing, you are keeping your idea of h5 and g5 reserved. So in this case, opponent has to react very, very concretely. So here, If opponent cannot understand this concept, then this rook d8 move is even very useful. For example, here, okay, another threat here is even knight into c4. For example, if white plays any funny move like a3, what you can do, you simply go for knight into c4, bishop into c4, queen into e4, and after queen into e4, rook into e4. The problem is the e3 bishop is hanging, and if you play rook e2, you can simply play bishop g5 and you are winning. So let's go back to the move where we played rook de8 on move number 20, and after rook de8, you can't go for a3. Now knight c4 is one real threat after rook de8, and now here white played the move b3 in order to defend this knight c4, and which was very logical, right? But here now the same concept that we have stored in our mind before one move, which is now even stronger. Now why? Because if you play h5 now, let's say g into h5 and now g5. Now again the problem remains same. If you go for knight to g2, let's say here, then we can simply go for bishop g3, and that's what basically happened in game, and black simply have an exchange. So black will going to win very easily. Knight e1, bishop h2, rook h2, g4, and this is winning. But now let's say on move number 23, instead of knight g2, if white goes for knight to d3, now if you compare this line with the previous one where we are playing direct h5 and g5, here black can simply go for knight e into d3, bishop into d3, knight into d3, queen into d3, and boom, queen into e4, and that's what the point behind rook de8. So you see, storing the ideas is actually a very, very good concept. Although here direct h5 and g5 was also good enough, but I have lots of more examples in the same theme with the storing and ideas, and it is of course not not unique, not easy to find this kind of concept as well. So the storeroom concept is very, very useful in your game. While in this game, rook d8, basically you are threatening knight c4, but not only knight c4, you are keeping the same thing in your mind that h5 and g5 is even stronger because you are indirectly attacking the e4 pawn, and this is what the very deep threat, right? So here we are just checking the opponent's knowledge as well with this move, this concept in fact. So hope you have enjoyed this, and don't forget to subscribe my channel and like this video. Thank you friends.